Hi everybody, this is my first video for my channel, and I just wanted to introduce myself and tell you all a little bit about my story so far on my TTC journey. Anyway, my name's Amanda, and I've been watching a lot of videos of you ladies tracking your journey, and I just find it really inspiring and hopeful, and I just love the community that surrounds women who are struggling with infertility, and I just want to be a part of that. I want to be hopeful for someone else out there who might be struggling with the same things that I am, and I just think it's a really good opportunity to connect with people going through the same struggles. So this is just going to be the first part of our journey, and there will be another video updating what has happened recently. So my husband and I started trying for our family in December of 2013, and we really honestly started trying before we thought we would. He only had a full-time job, like he just recently got one, and I was working part-time, and I just said, I think that we're in a point in our life that, like, if we got pregnant now, we would be fine, and hopefully by the time the baby came around, we would have a house. We were saving up for a house at the time, and actually looking for one, and we ended up buying one a few months later and moving into it after we started trying to conceive. So anyhow, we started, and at that point I was just tracking my cycle. I wasn't doing anything special to try to time it, other than just knowing maybe around the time that was best. So I kept doing that, and I had read a lot of research about tracking your temperature, so I bought a thermometer at some point, but I didn't really use it because I just honestly didn't know how to analyze the temperatures themselves. So yeah, so I didn't really do a lot, but in October, it's like, it's getting ready to be around the year mark, so I should probably find a doctor in case that did happen. I just didn't have a regular OBGYN, so I was like, oh, I should go and find one, and I need a yearly, and it would just be a good place to start. So I went, told him, how long we've been trying, and he said, okay, well, how about you track your cycle for the next 3 months, because he wanted to see if I was regular. And I was like, okay, so that's what I did, and I came back. I still wasn't pregnant. I came back in January. Yeah, January, I think it was. And he looked at the little chart that I kept track with, and he said, okay, well, you're pretty regular. And at that, or I think at the first appointment, he said something about Clomid. He said, even if you are ovulating, we can put you on Clomid if you're having a hard time conceiving, and that helps, with the quality of your eggs. It helps with, it just helps. So I was like, okay, cool. So back to the second appointment, he said, okay, well, since you're regular, I want you to start tracking your temperature. I said, all right. And he said, this can just help us nail down, if you are timing it out right, and if there is an issue of maybe you're not ovulating at all, we can help out with that. So I said, okay. And started tracking my temperature, and in that time, I think it was 2 months. He wanted me to do it for 3 months, so I think on the second month of me tracking my temperature, I actually got pregnant. And we were so excited. Found out in March of 2015 that we were pregnant, and of course we told everybody close to us. We were so excited, and it was it was great. We were happy. We were like, well, we don't have to do anything. We're great. So, you know, we went on, and about probably a month later, yeah, probably around a month later, I had gotten home from my job that I was doing at the time, and I had some lessons that I teach violin. I was getting ready to teach some lessons, and so I had a little bit of time to eat and just take care of a few things before my first lesson showed up. And I went to the bathroom. I started getting really, really dizzy, and I actually passed out. And I could tell I was going to pass, or I didn't know I was going to pass out, but I could tell something was wrong, so I stood up, and at that point I passed out. I think I woke up right away and realized, okay, gosh, I'm not going to be able to teach my lesson. Like, I don't know what's going on, but something's wrong. And I called the mother of the child I was teaching and told her, you know, what happened. And she was actually at my house. She's like, yeah, he came to the door and he said that you didn't come. And I was like, yeah. And so she like rushed and she helped me. She called my husband. She called she called the ambulance, 911. You know, they came to check me out. I told her that I was about 7 weeks pregnant, and she's like, yeah, she's like, you need to get checked out. So, you know, they came, the ambulance came before, the EMT came before my husband got home. He was driving a truck at the time, and he just said, you know, okay, I'm on my way. He had to drop off the truck, and then he would be home. And the EMT people checked all my vitals. They said I was completely fine. And I was sitting there on my couch, and I say a lot. They said I was completely fine, but even as I was sitting there, I was getting dizzy again. So I knew something was wrong, even if my vitals weren't right. You know, I knew that they were right, even though that, like, I knew something was wrong. So anyway, it was a few minutes later, my husband got home and he was like, well, we gotta go to the hospital. And I don't know what my deal was, but I was like, no, I'm fine, I'm sure it's fine. I just didn't want to go. I just didn't want to find out that there was something wrong. But he's like, no, we're going. So we went to the hospital. They took a lot of blood, and even in the hospital I kept passing out. Like, I just kept blacking out. And as soon as they could, they got me into my own, at the emergency room. They got me into my own room. They monitored my heart and everything. And you know, I was super cold. I just didn't know what was going on. I had a lot of pain in my abdomen. Like, when he was driving me to the hospital, if he hit a bump, like, I felt like somebody was stabbing me in the stomach. It was terrible. And that was the point when I was like, something's wrong with baby. Like, I didn't know something else was wrong before this point, but, you know, I knew something had to be, it had to be with pregnancy because of my stomach hurting so bad. So once they got me into an ultrasound, you know, they did their thing, and the doctor came back and he told me that it was ectopic. And at that point, obviously anybody would be devastated. You know, I couldn't stop crying. You know, at this point in the pregnancy, like, there was no way that they could just give me, you know, a shot and it would dissolve or whatever. And at this point I'd lost like 16 something, 100 milliliters of blood into my ab. Like, I was not bleeding externally, I was bleeding internally. And so I had to have an emergency surgery to take it out and put my tube back together because it was stuck in my tube. It was my right one. So went to surgery and it was gone. You know, 16 months of trying, and it was gone. So of course we were devastated, and I had a lot of appointments and things, checkups with the surgeon. The guy who did the surgery wasn't actually my doctor who did the surgery. it was another one that was on call that night, and I had a bunch of checkups with him, and we were asking, you know, when is it okay to try again? You know, he said give it another cycle and you should be fine. And of course we were like, well, when is it okay to be worried, you know, not worried, but like be concerned that like if we're not pregnant at a certain time, when should we like start coming back to the doctor? And he said 6 months. So that was in April. 6 months would have been, I guess, October of 2015. Well, since all that happened, I got a job, and so did my husband when we moved to a whole different state. So new doctors, new everything. And with all that, like, of course we were still trying. 6 months came, we were still not pregnant. And so of course we're like, well, now we gotta go to the doctor and see what we can do. So in December, this past December 2015, I went to an OBGYN, got another, you know, just checkup, and I told her everything that had been going on. And she said basically that, like, since I'm regular and my temperatures indicate that I am ovulating, that there was nothing she could do. Like, she couldn't give me anything, there was nothing a regular OBGYN could do. And at that point, I was just like, what? I mean, that is just the opposite of everything that I've read, everything that my doctor told me from my home state. I was just completely, you know, it was like another roadblock, of course. And she said that the only thing she could do was refer me to a fertility specialist. And so I said, well, that's what I want to do. If that's the only thing you can do, then that's what we need to do. And before that point, she did say that, you know, she would want me to wait a year after my surgery, which would be still like 2 months from now. And I said no. I was like, I've been trying 25 months. There has got to be something going on, and I'm not waiting till April to figure that out and be confused for another 4 months. So she said okay, and she referred me. Well, I was just not happy with that doctor because of everything she said. And so I just called around over Christmas break. I called around to a bunch of different doctors trying to figure out like where I could go, where they would help me. And basically, long story short, I found one that, you know, a lot of people recommended, and their office even said, well, why don't, because I couldn't get an appointment with her until February, which is this month. They said, their office said, well, you should probably just go ahead and go to a fertility specialist. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just want to avoid this as much as possible, because as you guys know, fertility specialists aren't exactly covered by insurances most of the time. So I just was like, I just want, you know, normal doctor to help me. So anyway, I said, fine, you know, I'll go. And they referred me to one. I canceled the fertility specialist with the first doctor, went to this fertility specialist because, you know, I just had a bad taste in my mouth from that doctor. Anyway, so I went to that fertility specialist last month, and I'm gonna save that story for another video. So that's my introduction so far, and whoever may be watching this, if you're going through, you know, similar struggles, I'd love to hear your story. I didn't put this whole story on my Facebook page, but I'm putting myself out there because I think it's helpful to me and to others who are going through the same thing. So I look forward to hearing from some of you guys who might be dealing with this, and I'm excited to start actually tracking this journey. So thanks for watching.